Yes, my people. It's the Armoury TV. We're back. It's a transfer show. It's myself, Gumsa. It's the main man, Gunner King. Let's get in the intro. We're gonna get straight into this. Let's do it, boys. Yes. We're back. We're back in the building. it's it's a nice day. It's a nice day today. Some optimism around the club. Um, King, how we keeping before we get into it?
Yeah, man. Yeah, good, man. Yeah, still excited for the season.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, buzzing. And obviously, as the transfer window continues, I can see that we're cooking up something big this window, man.
I hear that. We're gonna get into it. Let's talk about the main one. We're gonna talk about Mudryk. Now, yesterday, a bit of panic set in yesterday when talks came out that the chairman of the club was going to watch the Man City Chelsea game. He was gonna speak with Chelsea, so on. Mini meltdown from some fans. Little one on the Armory TV. A few of us were like, "Come on, Arsenal, get it done." You then stepped in late into the stream and just kind of chilled everyone's nerves and said, "We've seen Chelsea try this a few times um, earlier in the season when they tried to get Kunde and they tried to get Rafinha. End of the day, the player wants Arsenal. We all see the player wants Arsenal." So you was like, "I'm pretty chilled because you feel that he'll reject Chelsea, which means Shakhtar then have to kind of come back to the table and talk with Arsenal." I'm not sure if you saw the picture someone put on there. It was Mudryk behind bars, saying free Mudryk. It was Shakhtar badge and Arsenal badge, and Mudryk actually liked it. Like it's crazy how much he's doing on the Insta, on the Twitter, and
Pretty much.
on the socials. So you're quietly confident with this one, aren't you?
I'm not even going to be quiet about how confident I am, man. I've seen it in a vision. Yeah, this man, yeah, being unveiled by Edu with Arteta on the other side of him, holding up, yeah, holding up that Arsenal shirt. Like it's a case of when, not if, bro. My
Yeah.
Ukrainian son, yeah, he is coming, bro. Yeah, and he shall inhibit the earth, bro. Yeah, this man he's going to take us to the promised land, bro. Title
Yeah.
number 14, yeah, is going to be brought to Gunner King number 40, yeah. Don't
Yeah.
watch.
This guy, I love it. I love it. Mr. B's in the chat. Hope you we keep it well, Mr. B. I'm still waiting for my invite on the takeaway. I'll let you know. I've got this Friday and next Friday free, so you let me know which Friday you want me, bro. I'm there. But yeah, big up Silver Fox. He's in the building. He wants to talk about the deal. So yeah, the Mudryk one, Gunner King certain is going through. Luke Morrison saying he sure hopes the Mudryk deal is agreed. Was hoping we already have signings, but the Mudryk one I fear will go until deadline day. My fear is we don't get anyone like last Jan. Speak to that because I remember last year you was similarly confident that we're signing somebody in January. Me and you both, like we're saying, if we don't get Flavic, we're definitely getting someone else. We were linked all window to Arthur Mello. Um, there was loads of talk, and then deadline day was very flat when we didn't get anybody. Can you see a scenario where we don't sign anyone this year? And I think the big difference is Europe. Last year we didn't have Europe. This year we do. Um, so he needs players. But can you see? We've seen it in the summer. If it's not what we want, if it's not the price we're talking, this is our limit. If you're not going to agree, we will pull out. You're not going to hold us to ransom. We're not going to overpay for anyone. Um, do you think this will be a bit different in January? Do you honestly see sidings coming?
Yeah, I think this will be a very different January for a number of reasons. Obviously you touched on the fact that we're in Europe. I think the needs for the squad for the run in for the end of this season compared to last season, whilst there could be cases that we could have got top four, and we weren't far off really in the grand scheme
Yeah,
of things, a point or two with two major injuries, my add in that season end running. you'd like to think if Partey and Tierney didn't get injured, we would have at least picked up one more win. From the results that we
Yeah,
weren't favorably weren't favorable in terms of our outcome. So the difference with this season, we are in Europe. We will need a bigger squad to compete. There are five subs that need to be utilised. We have had a major injury with Gabriel Jesus, who has been a massive part of our build-up playing structure in our attacking third, and the fundamental difference of being title contenders, and I think being in a great position to end a 17-year wait for a title, along with the fact that we now have pull again. Like, so where we were going for Vlahovic last season, where we were going for Locatelli and the like last season. Had we been going for them now in this situation, I'm sure they would have looked at our project a lot more favourably, which would have meant our top targets would have been more attainable. And we're seeing that manifest in the way that Mudryk himself really seems to be pushing for this move to join Arsenal. Pedro Leal being interviewed after all the links he's had to that bus stop in Fulham, coming out and saying, that he watches us, the likes of João Felix, apparently he would favour us over Man United or Chelsea. So the targets that we want, the expectation of the level of bar, for players that we want to come to this club, we are more attractive to them now than we were last
yeah,
season. So I don't expect us to be going in for targets that aren't looking at us with more favour than they were this time last year.
yeah,
So I think all of this really leads to us signing players, and
yeah.
I think it'll be at least two. I think it could be even be three that we get.
Wow, you reckon that much?
Yeah.
Not bad. Okay. Mr. B's here. So he wants me on next Friday. I'm looking forward to it, Mr. B. We ain't chopped up for a long time, and that's a week before the Arsenal United game. So let me get that in before we play you lot, because you won't want me on there when we beat you. I'm telling you that now. So yeah, you're gonna see me on Friday night takeaway next week. Then it's official. Contract signed. James is in the building. Yes, bro. Hope you're good. What a mess Chelsea have made with the Enzo deal. What's going on with the Enzo deal? From what I can see, James can please clarify, but it looks like they're not going to go. Um, yeah, Dr. Shaw, they're going to be able to trigger the release clause, or they don't want to. I think the release clause is 120 million euros, and Chelsea don't want to pay that much. So James is coming in there now. He's saying they're trying to get Enzo to push for a transfer, so to try and bring the price down. Um,
You
so
can't
yeah, we'll see what
you
happens with
can't
that.
indicate you're going to pay a release clause and then try and negotiate the deal down after you
Mm,
said you pay the release clause. Like,
yeah,
what
yeah.
are these London Cowboys doing? But
Who
listen,
knows?
this ain't
I'm not
about
even
that.
worried about them lot. I'm not even worried,
Exactly.
but we're gonna get into them in a minute because um Abayomi saying good evening Arsenal, please get Mudryk. Um, so let's get into the Chelsea thing because strong links are coming out today about Arsenal looking at Declan Rice in the summer. Um, for numerous years, it's looked like Chelsea would be his destination. I think he's a Chelsea fan. He definitely played for Chelsea Academy growing up.
Yeah.
Him and Mason Mount were best friends.
We're telling you all Chelsea fans as well.
Yeah, yeah. So it was always for years. It looked like Chelsea would be his destination. Again, Chelsea wouldn't have an issue paying the money for him, even before Todd Bowley under Abramovich. Chelsea always spent money, so it looked that was destined for him to end up there. But recently, we're getting a lot of links for Arsenal. Looking at Declan Rice. I think if Chelsea do pull off Enzo, this is Chelsea, so even if they get Enzo, I don't think it rules them out of going for another midfielder. Their
Mm-hmm.
midfield does need a massive overhaul.
Mm-hmm.
Kante's not been great for the last year and a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Jorginho's he's a good player, but maybe doesn't suit the style of the Prem as much as he did with international football in Italy. And his aging Kovacevic, for some reason, Chelsea never really fancied him to be their main centre midfielder, and I think he's a really good player. So I think they do need a few extras in there. But can you see the Declan Rice thing happen? I think another thing they're saying in Arsenal's favour is he's at a stage now where he wants Champions League football. Now Chelsea are what, ninth or tenth or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
at the moment. So there's no guarantee they're going to be getting top four. So does that kind of put Arsenal in a really strong position to get him? And the brand again, like you said earlier, the brand of football we play, it's even if Chelsea make Champions League and he's got a choice. Yes, I know he's a fan of Chelsea, but for footballing reasons, Chelsea just don't. They look all over the place structurally. They look all over the place on the pitch. Whereas Arsenal look like they're heading in the right direction. Him at his age, do you want me to take the bias out of it? Arsenal is probably a more appealing proposal for a player going forward. Again, you're playing with. Let's talk about his age. Imagine you're playing every week with Smith Rowe, with Saka. These guys, Ben White, Ramsdale, English international. So if you're the England manager and you think, well, these men play together every week, so
Mm,
actually I could be happy. Don't get me wrong, I know Declan starts anyway, but it just helps, doesn't it? If you've got Ramsdale, Ben White, and Declan Rice, that's
mm.
the spine of a team almost, and then you got your Saka. So yeah, do you reckon there's legs in this?
Yeah. No, the reason why I say this, listen, I expect Chelsea to be favourites. You know, like they are.
Yeah.
I think that's where he's wanted to go. That's probably his preferred destination. And, I think that's probably first and foremost in his mind at the moment.
Mm,
But I want to run a few hypotheticals past, and this is what I've been saying to Chelsea fans, and they've they've responded with a lot of dissonance, a lot of cognitive dissonance to what I've been saying. Yeah. Now, for
yeah.
anyone that's seen the interview where he's come out and he said, "Look, I've got mates that are winning Champions Leagues, that are playing in the major tournaments, that are competing at the highest level," and he said, "You only get one career." That's what he said. Yeah, very distinctly. You only get one career. Yeah, and obviously, I'm looking to make the most out of it. This is a guy that is driven by success, and he's been somewhat starved at it at West Ham. Now,
Mm,
a hypothetical situation, where Chelsea don't qualify for the Champions League this season, and at the moment they're not even in the spaces for Europe.
mm.
They've got City tonight. They've still got us to play. They've still got Liverpool to play. They've still got. I think they've got City to play twice. No, they've got
To be
United to
fair,
play.
on,
They've got
on
a
their
lot.
form, they shouldn't even worry about that. They've got to worry about the Southamptons, and because they're struggling
Exactly.
all
Yeah.
over the place. It's not
Yeah.
even they're beating the best
And
of the rest and struggling against top six. They're
that's it. And I think, like, if you're looking at them in a situation where they don't get Champions League, let's just say we get Champions League
mm,
and they don't. That makes us more attractive, yeah. I expect Arsenal to at least ask the question. And if we lose
yeah,
out, so be it. But let me
yeah.
run another hypothetical past you.
Run
Say
it.
they say they don't make Champions League and we win the league,
Mm,
or we win Europa League, or we
mm,
win both. Yeah. And
mm.
and then it's a case of, all right, so now we're not even just a project. Now we are at our
We
zenith. We're
we
back.
arrived. Yeah.
We're fully, like, we've arrived. Yeah. You're looking at
Mm,
Thomas Partey, you're looking at his age, you're looking at Xhaka's age, you're
mm,
looking at the space in that midfield to come in as an 8 or a 6, and you're looking at someone like Declan Rice of his quality that is able to compete for both of those positions and grow into both of those positions. And you're Declan Rice, and you're looking at
yeah.
Chelsea, yeah, outside of the Champions League, and you're looking at Arsenal as league champions, or Europa League champions, or both. Yeah,
Mm,
all of a sudden, that's gonna turn your head, And if
yeah.
we're talking about money, yeah, in terms of playing Aubameyang, paying Ozil 350 grand a week, we've paid as much as their top earners for a long time. We
Mm,
just haven't paid as many people in that bracket, but we
yeah.
can absolutely put together a package that can
Yeah.
compete
I
with
don't think
anything
wages.
financially that they can. Yeah, but if on because for me it seems like he's driven by the competitive element to the next club he joins.
Mm,
If there is a massive disparity in the gap here of how much more competitive we look at the end of the season to Chelsea,
yeah.
I expect Arsenal to at least try to do something about that.
I hundred
And
percent. And
for
I
me,
hundred
I
percent.
think he's got great qualities, like in being able to win the ball. And people compare his press resistance and his passing range to Partey's as if he's the finished article. He's not. Partey's 29, 30. He's in the prime of his career. Obviously Declan Rice can't pass the ball to the level that Partey can, and obviously he can't. He can't, he's not as press resistant. Sorry, give me a second.
Do your thing. I'll take over. I'll take over. Um, and that'd be my worry with Declan Rice. Kings has got a bounce. He'll be back in a second. My worry for with Declan Rice would be I've got no issues with him playing at 8. However, I feel I've been on record saying I want a more creative 8. I think Xhaka and Declan Rice, there's not much difference in how their style of play is. Declan Rice thinks has got a bit more power in the way he moves, but the style's very similar. So I would like a more creative 8. However, Smith Rowe might be that man. So the defensive side of it, Partey, we all know we need cover for Partey. That person to me has got to be able to manipulate the ball the way Partey does and take us, beat the press really, or beat the pressure, because that's a vital component of our game. We're going to play out from the back. We saw it a couple of years ago. We first started playing out from the back the way we are under Arteta. Teams used to
Arsenal
press
have
us
improved
like
so much.
crazy. Nowadays, teams aren't pressing like they were because they know if they get caught, and there's a likelihood they will get caught when we beat it, it's a problem for them. And that only comes from repetition and keep beating the press. Once you beat it once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 10th time, teams say, hold on, they've got it mastered now. We can't press like that no more. So if we have someone in there who's not as solid as Partey at receiving the ball on the back foot and getting out, it then opens the door for teams to say, right, let's press them hard again, letting them force into the centre midfield, and we try and nick the ball there and they're out of back line. So that is the only place I'm not, and like, I don't want to say he's not as good because we don't know until we see it in the Arsenal team. Again, there's a big difference playing for West Ham, playing for Arsenal. Even the quality of the pass from the centre backs may be a little bit different. Again, the movement of the other players around you, the system we play. Do you know what I mean? Everything's different. It's very hard to compare players who play in different teams. Do you know what I mean? Who play in different systems. So he might come in, he might be better than Partey, but we just haven't seen it yet because he's playing for an England team which don't
I don't.
really play out for the back like Arsenal, and West Ham who
The,
don't do what Arsenal do.
the,
So
the, the thing is, Kelvin, yeah, I don't even look at it. Yeah, I don't even look at it as better than Pi. I look at it as at 23, he's only getting better. At 29, 30, and with Partey's injury record, and
yeah,
with Xhaka's age, yeah, you've got two players that are at that diminishing point in terms of
yeah,
like their physical ability, in terms of like their overall ability now. Like they've hit a peak.
you
They're,
should
they're,
start seeing
they
a decline in them
yeah,
too. Not yeah,
they're
yeah,
either at their peak or not far off it. Yeah, whereas
yeah.
this guy, he's
He's still got
already
years to go.
he's got years to go, but he's already in that conversation. Do you know what I mean? With Rodri, with Partey, with Casemiro. If you're talking about the league's best players that are playing in that six role, he absolutely enters that conversation as a 23-year-old that's raw playing for West Ham, for goodness sake. Yeah, and
Yeah,
the other guys that are in that conversation are all accomplished. They are all in their prime. Casemiro, he's in his prime. Fabinho, Partey, Rodri, they're all in their prime. And he's already rubbing shoulders and being spoken about in the same breath as these guys as a 23-year-old.
mm,
Yeah. In terms of our
mm,
project
mm.
and bringing in the very best that youth has to offer, yeah, if you've got a guy that has been talked about amongst the best in his position at 23, and that is a
Yeah,
position that we are absolutely struggling to find backup
players.
or cover
Yeah,
and competition. I don't want players now just coming in as backup. I want players coming in that can actually compete with what's in the first 11,
mm,
because that's
mm,
what's going to take us from here to being able to compete in four instead of realistically in one or two competitions, to
yeah.
being able to sort of deal with an injury to Party at this level,
Not
to
and
dealing
you
with
know,
an
not
injury
even
to Party at this level. Do you see what I mean?
yeah,
Like that's
and not even just
that's
the
the way
injury
I'm
as well.
looking at it.
It's a dip of form. If someone has a dip of form, then you're not scared to rotate them out because you got quality. The last time I saw it in an Arsenal team, I think I can see it now with Zinchenko and Tierney. The style's different with them, but again, as fans, we don't complain if we see either or. I see it with Tomiyasu and Ben White. We don't complain if we see either or. And the only other position last season, which we didn't really, there was always an argument, was left wing. It was Smith Rowe or Martinelli, one of them two. Apart
Mm.
from that, the team picks itself. So what you're saying is right. If Partey plays 2 6s, 2 7s, all of a sudden Arteta could say, "Yo, all right, Declan Rice, you're in." Do you know what I mean? And Partey's got to sit there and earn his shirt back. Do you know what I mean? And that's what good squads have, isn't it? It's that being able to not be forced to make a change, but actually
Look how
all of
much
you have got to play to this level. Because if you
Tierney's
don't,
game in the inverted role has developed so much since
yeah,
Zinchenko's
yeah,
come. You know, they
yeah,
push each other. You know, like, and that's what you need. Two
yeah,
players, each pushing each other to be better than they were in their last game in that
yeah,
position. To win that
yeah,
shirt off the other person.
hmm,
This is how you breed a competitive spirit
yeah,
into not your just your first 11, but your whole squad, the
yeah,
whole
yeah.
squad, and that's what
Right,
you need.
let me get to some comments because we're going to come back to this one in a second, Jason. Um, we got man Declan Rice is the guy, man. He's my number one signing over anyone on the planet. So James is wants Declan as the centre midfielder. If we brought Rice in, it has to be as a number eight, says Nathan. I do think he offers a lot in the eight, but again, equally in the six. I think that's the beauty of Rice. He can do both jobs. He's
But
a unicorn six, can be the best centre DM of his generation.
if you played him
Um,
at the 8, you could push Odegaard further forward again as the more
yeah,
advanced player.
well, I think Arteta likes the 3-3, but again, it's the one difference. The one thing I take from the Newcastle game, and this is not me. Please don't think this is a Shaka slander. It's just that power. I watched Willock pick up the ball on 3 occasions and drive. He ran Ben White into the ground. Ben White won the tackle and laid on the floor. The ball come back. He booted it away, and then 2 minutes later, Tommy Asy's on the pitch. And that's the one thing Xhaka lacks is that power to go. So Declan Rice, when I've seen him pick up the ball and motor, it's like you can see the power in when he starts pushing. So that's for me where he could be very useful as an eight, just to give you something different. But equally, we need someone to be able to cover the six. So it makes perfect sense to me. Um, he could do both. There's no reason. Do you know what I mean? If you say right between the two positions, I've got three of those players. It makes perfect sense. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Even if you look at it from a perspective of playing him and Partey as two eights again and pushing Odegaard further forward as a
yeah,
10, as a proper out and out 10 again,
yeah,
like
you can
or
rotate around.
Smith Rowe in that hole or
Mm.
Vieira in that hole. Mudryk coming in, if he comes in, then he can play centrally as well in that hole. Like, so,
Saka, yeah, we haven't seen this week.
like,
Saka could play this in.
it actually widens, like, so much the way in which your midfield rotations can work
Yeah,
between
but
being a 3 and being a 2-1
mm,
as well.
could you even
You get what I'm
imagine,
saying?
like, just say we're talking Champions League quarterfinals, we got a 2-0 home lead, we're going away from home, and you say, all right, Partey, you're the six, and Shaka and Declan Rice, you're the eights. Like
Mm.
Odegaard don't even play this game. Do you know what I mean?
A
It just
lot
gives
more
you
potential.
options. Yeah, so you could go in there with three tanks in that midfield, like,
Mm.
and just bully and dominate the game away from home in the Champions League. We've seen
But
under Wenger.
all three of those players have got good passing range and
Yeah,
ability
yeah,
still
yeah,
to
yeah.
break lines and
So now you're telling
progressively
your
forward at
wingers you
the
ain't
same
even got
time.
to come back as much because you're the out ball, and we can now hit you. And do you know what I mean? It just opens. It makes sense. He's in his last year of contract. When the new season, from June, he goes into his last year of contract. Obviously, talk before was 100 mil for Declan Rice. West Ham was commanding that kind of fee. However, that's going to come down considerably. And even if they don't make Europe and stuff like that, again, it's what a West Ham owner is going to do. Would you be happy to lose Declan Rice on a free, or would you have to accept 50 mil? Like, because again, he might play the Tillerman and say, if just say Arsenal and Chelsea say 80 million is too much, but just wait there one more year, we'll come and get you. He's still only going to be able to think, what, 25 then maybe?
Mm-hmm.
24, 25. So it's not like he's at the age where he's thinking, I need to go get this move now. He's
Worst
sit there
case
for a year and
scenario, they get relegated.
oh, could you imagine? That would be beautiful.
That his
His
value
value
would,
would drop right down. And it
yeah.
doesn't mean the player is bad just because his team's been relegated. We've seen that with Ramsdale, what he's come in and done. So yeah, it's got legs. It'd be interesting to see how it develops. And again, we've seen Arsenal being happy to wait. So we've all spoke about Tillemans, but again, you never know what these guys are doing behind the scenes. If they now know Declan may be an option, it might be a case of we've kind of come out of the race for Tillemans today. People are saying his wage demands are too high. We're not really too sure on the reason, but it seems like we've now finally distanced ourselves from him. It could be because this might be on the radar, so it could be Rice or Milinkovic Savic. We're still hearing a lot of talk about him. So we've seen Arteta and Edu can be patient when they want the right target, and I don't think either of those coming in. I don't think there's any argument from our Arsenal fans. You know what I mean? I think both of them will really, really, really strengthen our squad. Um, James has given me another player. You know, James has always got these undercover man. Kiefer Thuram is a great alternative for Partey.
Marcus Thuram's brother, isn't it?
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Ah,
he,
yeah.
he,
James
he's
has got
born.
that. He's taking plays in France.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, James has got that French market on a lot, mate. I'm telling you. Um, so yeah, no, it's going on. Right, there's one question earlier. Let me see if I can find it. Um, should Arsenal walk away from this deal just to show we won't be forced to overpay by other clubs coming in to force prices up? So let's put it in context. We've bid, I think, 40 million up front, 20 million in add-ons. I think we've gone up to 65. They want 88. Where do you reckon the limit should be, King?
So
Because
yeah,
again, I hear exactly what you're saying, Jason, but
look,
put a bit of context on it.
they've privately accepted. I've heard that they'll be happy to accept between 80 to 85 million in Europe.
Euros.
In
Yes.
Europe, which Arsenal have offered 70 million in euros, but 48 million pound of that up front,
Yeah.
and the
So
rest
so
of
we're
the
talking
add-on,
about
which comes to
15,
about
20 million away.
62 million pounds in total.
Yeah.
Right now, I've heard that Arsenal are happy to get a bit closer to their valuation, but it would have to be like more structured. And I think what I'm understanding is that really it's more about structure of how much they receive up front than
Yeah.
it is like the gap between their valuation and ours. I think offering more up front might reduce how much they would be willing to take as a total. Do you know what I mean? Whereas like we might think, we're happy to pay a bit more just so we can structure it a bit more over a stretched term.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like, I expect that to be what we're trying to iron out. This whole Chelsea interest thing, I don't really think it's there. You know, so their hand weakens if Chelsea don't make a bid. But if Chelsea do make a bid, as I explained with Kunde and Rafinha, yeah,
Mm.
in both instances, Chelsea offered more money to Sevilla and to Leeds, both by way of total payment and upfront payment
Yeah.
than Barcelona did. They also offered better personal terms to both players than Barcelona did, but
Mm.
both of them had no interest in going Chelsea, so they rejected the terms, which meant that the deal that they accepted deferred to Barcelona's, which was lower, because then it was a case
Yeah.
of, well, what are we going to do? Reject Barcelona's bid just because they rejected the terms on a higher bid and get nothing, annoy the player. The player probably goes on strike, puts in a transfer request, and then his value's lowered anyway.
Mm.
Do you know
Mm.
what I'm
Mm.
saying? So people need to relax a bit. Like, we shouldn't walk away from the deal just because of this supposed Chelsea thing, because I think it's smoke and mirrors. But even if it's not and Chelsea come in, he rejects terms to him anyway. I don't care how
Mm.
much money they offer him, like, because, we've agreed 5-year terms, 120 grand a week, yeah, which is a lot of money for a guy that hasn't proven himself in one of Europe's top 5 leagues. Like, I don't see Chelsea coming in and being like they would have to offer him 300 something grand a week to even turn his head because he doesn't
Mm.
want to go there. And I just don't see
Yeah.
them doing that.
Yeah.
For it's not, it's not.
You never know with Chelsea because I think
If
their
it,
strategy has
if
changed
if
because
it
Todd
was
Bowley is
no,
new.
the thing is, if it was a priority position, maybe, but they need central midfielders,
They
as
need
we
everything.
can see, more than they need wingers,
Mm.
much more. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. 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 I said,
They
take
got
Chelsea out of
Sterling, who
it.
plays on the left. They've literally just bought Sterling, who predominantly plays on the left-hand side.
Yeah.
So why would they put all their eggs? Why would they put so much energy, time, and money to get another winger who predominantly is a left-sided player? Now, I
Yeah.
understand it means you could move Sterling to the other side, but for me, I just think they've got two, like, um, Reece James getting injured the other day. That's
Mm.
that's right back cover they also need that they didn't anticipate needing. In the same way with us and Jesus, meant that we
Yeah.
didn't anticipate needing a striker in this window. They've now added that to their burgeoning group of needs. Do you know what I
Mm.
mean? Like they're not gonna go all out to get this guy at such a detriment in terms of cost when they've got so many other things they need to do.
But this is Chelsea, and
No,
whatever this is Chelsea because they've just spent how much million on centre backs and still gone out and got another centre back. So Chelsea will do what Chelsea do. I don't think they have the know-how and structure at the moment to
If he,
even.
if he was a
Their
central
thing is,
midfielder,
if
if
you
he was a
if you
central midfielder, I'd be more concerned. He's not a
if
central
you
midfielder.
yeah, but if you look at Chelsea's whole strategy since the summer, since Bowley's come in, it's if someone's linked to someone, oh, we're gonna throw our name and our hat in the ring, and they are actually making bids. Do you know what I mean? Rafinha was another one, like you said, Kunde. So they are a bit just if they see someone's available, they are throwing money at it. Um, but I know what you say. He wasn't a target for them, but maybe a bit like the Vlahovic. We wanted Vlahovic in January. Juventus didn't want him then, but because we showed our interest, they had to then play their hand. So it'd be interesting. I'm not really worried about the Chelsea things. I do agree with you. I think he wants Arsenal, so it's a wait and see. But the question again was, do we, like I say, get bullied in the market on this one? We've come in at our price. They've come in at their price. We've got to meet somewhere in the middle. Would
You
you go
know,
up to the asking price though,
no,
just
no,
because
because
of the
look,
precedent it sets? So there's a simple question. Simple question.
no, like no, no, but
86 million they said. Hold on, hold
no,
on. Just answer the simple question. 86 million they said we've come in at 60. We said we're gonna kind of say we want to settle at 70 something. They're saying 84 million. Do you go
right.
up to their
So
asking price?
no,
Do you
no.
go to the asking price?
What I'm trying to explain, yeah, is no,
Simple
wait,
question.
yeah, I know. Give you the simple answer, bro. Yeah, give
Go
me
on.
a second. Yeah, Barcelona left both deals on the table.
I'm not
Yeah,
worried about Chelsea.
no, 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 no.
No,
Just
because what I'm saying is
no,
they're saying
no,
we're
but
gonna say they're not budging. They're
let me
hold
answer,
on.
bro, bro.
Let's just take it out. They're not gonna budge. They're not
Let,
budging from
please let
84
me
mil.
answer.
Just
Please let
quick,
me
quick, no,
answer.
quick. We're
Yeah,
gonna
I
move
know,
on.
but
They're not
yeah,
budging. They're not
let me
budging.
answer, bro.
Would you go up
Let
to
me answer,
86?
bro. Let me just give you let me just answer. Yeah,
Go on.
when Barcelona had their deal on the table, then Chelsea came with their higher bid.
Yeah.
Barcelona could have adjusted their bid. They
Yeah,
didn't.
100%.
They
I'm
left it
not
on
saying
the
that.
table. Yeah, they
Yeah.
left it on the table, but they didn't walk away. What
Not
they
what I'm
said,
saying.
yeah, was no, no, no. But I'm trying to get to what you're
No, but
saying. Yeah, just give me a second, bro.
go on, go
Just
on,
give
go
me,
on. You've
please
gone
give
a
me a
long way
second,
about it.
please.
Go on, go
Yeah,
on, go on.
right. So they left their bid. They left their bids on the table. Chelsea
Yeah.
came in with a higher bid. Then the whole term thing happened. Yeah.
Mhm.
Then the terms got rejected, and then
Mhm.
the bid that was still on the table got referred to. Yeah, it
Yeah.
got deferred to. So
Yeah.
so don't walk away because Barcelona could have said, "Fine, if Chelsea have bid more, we're going to walk away. Forget
Yeah.
it." Then there's no bid on the table that gets deferred to afterwards. So what I'm
Mhm.
trying to say, the reason why I brought that up as an explanation point is you're not walking away. You're just leaving the deal there on the table. You're not changing it.
Yeah.
You're not altering it in any way. Yeah, you're waiting to see what they do. Yeah,
Mhm.
and then you know that's when it gets
I
deferred
I
to.
fully understand that point, but this is what I was saying. The question is completely different. I'm asking. They're not gonna budge. Right? We're saying hypothetical. They've said you take Chelsea out of it. Chelsea has nothing to do with this right now. They're saying they want 84 million. We're saying we're maximum. We've bid 60. We've got to meet. We can't meet in the middle because they're not moving from 80. Do you go up to 80? Because what the question was is, if Arsenal got up to 80, then other
Right.
teams feel they can now start bullying Arsenal in the market a bit more.
The
So
reason,
it's
the
either
reason,
we take 80 or we have to walk away from it. There's no waiting around. This is a hypothetical I'm putting out there.
the reason why I would say no again is because the player wants this move, and I think if
Yeah.
the player, I don't know if you remember the tweet, the Instagram story that he liked or he put on his story, where there was an infographic made about what people thought was a fair valuation for him as
Mm,
40 million euros, and he liked it and put it on his story. Yeah,
yeah.
he already feels he's being overvalued. He feels
Hmm.
he's being priced out of a move. Yeah. So we don't change or deviate our offer from here because I think if they reject this offer and he turns around and looks at it, he felt his value of 40 million was fair. We've offered 20, 30 million more than that. Yeah.
Hmm.
And he gains wind of Shakhtar rejecting that bid. He knocks on their door.
You're,
He
you're
marches
missing
in.
what we're trying to
No,
say,
no,
though.
no, no,
No, no,
no,
no.
no.
Let's wait. Let's wait. No, because you're missing. No,
Let me
just
finish.
wait a
Last sentence.
second. Take Mudryk out. Take Mudryk
Last
out of it.
sentence.
It's a
Last sentence, bro.
bro.
Then
You're not answering the question.
wait, bro. Then he knocks on the door, yeah, and then he hands in a transfer request. Then he's lowered his value,
No,
yeah,
listen. You're missing.
anyway.
You're missing what we're saying. It's very simple. We take Mudryk out of
No,
it.
we
What we're
don't
saying is
change it.
no,
We
no.
don't
Just
change
wait
it.
a
I've
second. But you're
answered the
not.
question, bro.
I beg you,
We
just
don't
listen to
change
what
it.
we're saying. No, because what we're saying is we want Mudryk. Mudryk wants us to whatever. Cool. We've noticeably not been bullied in the market. So we look at Martinez when he went to United. They overpaid because Ajax just kept putting the price up and they just kept going, overpaid. So what Jason's saying is he doesn't want Arsenal to be that team where teams start slapping extra 15, 20 million on top. So as I said, do we, even if just say we've got the money to pay for Mudryk, 86 mil, we got it. But the way it's gone about now, do we just say fuck it, pay the 86, get the guy
No,
in with then, but
we've done
forget all the
it.
Mudryk's going to put transfer request in. We're forgetting all of that. Just forget all that. It's a simple question because it's for the next
I've
transfer.
answered
We
it.
now
No, we don't do that.
so we don't go over. So for you, if it's a case of you either pay this or you don't get him, yours walk away and we move to other targets.
Yeah.
That's what it is. That's
But
all
the
it
but
is.
the, but the point I'm saying, the reason
No, but
why I brought in, no, no, wait,
because
but no,
we
wait,
don't need
no,
to, no, we don't need to
Let
rap
me just
about
say,
it.
no, Gumsa, let me just
Because
say,
I
bro, no,
agree
no,
with
wait,
you.
wait,
No, because
let me
we
just
spoke
say,
about it. I agree with that.
let me just say, bro, let me
Go
just
on,
say,
man.
the
Go on.
reason why I'm saying why all of that other stuff is important is because that will hedge what they're willing to accept.
Yeah, no,
That's what I'm
100%.
trying to say.
No one's disputing that. But again, it was a simple question because it was about our future transfers. People always say, why do Man United have to pay ridiculous amount of money? It's because every time they go for a player, the other club says, for another 20 million on that, you can have him. And Man United go, here you go, and write the check, and off they go. So if I'm a team, so if I'm West Ham, so you just say we end up caving into Shakhtar's demands and paying extra 15 mil that we wanted to pay for Mudryk. When we go for West Ham in the summer and they say actually 75 mil, and we're thinking, oh, we should get him for 60, but they're thinking, well, Arsenal are now a team that's going to pay over. So this is what the question was: it's do we? He is our target. He is the one. Do we break what we've been doing? Because we have been very, very stubborn in this is our valuation. If you're going above that, we're walking away. We've been very stubborn in that, and I quite like that. So we agree with you. You said you wouldn't go up to that fee if it gets to it, and I do agree. We're going to hold our ground and say this is what we're doing. It will come down because he wants the Arsenal move. So I'm in total agreement with that. But it was more of a question of do we change our philosophy on our signings because it's we're playing with the big boys now. Do you know what I mean? And teams are gonna, especially from other nations where they're not as much money, they're gonna try and milk the English clubs. Do you know what I mean? So again, you've answered it. You're rather hold firm, and I'm with you on that. And I think it'd be interesting. What would you guys do? Would you go up to 80 mils, or would you say actually 70 is our limit? Say we're not going above it. Let us know if we should change our philosophy up a little bit. There was another name got banded around. Let me see if I can find it. I can't remember who put it in actually. It might have been James because James be throwing players out. Ah, yeah, here he is. If we could get Oshimen, that would be awesome. Plus, I can't say this man's name. But them boys are going for some big money. So I don't think we're even in them markets yet. But say his name again.
Kvaratskhelia.
What have you seen much of him?
Yeah, for Napoli winger. Yeah, he's tore Liverpool a new one in the Champions League.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's been doing bits in Serie A this season. And yeah, like he's going to have a lot of interest in the summer. But Napoli are comfortably top of Serie A at the moment, so
Yeah.
it's going to be a case where they're not going to want to sell him for cheap because they're in a title push of their own, which they're not expected to be in.
Yeah.
Given that their project as well. So it kind of puts a massive premium on what they would want for him in January.
Yeah.
I don't see it as a viable January move. Maybe in the summer, not the January.
Let's go now the winger again because it is a talking point. We've been tried to get one in the summer, that didn't work. We now try for Mudryk. If this doesn't come off, where do you turn your attention in this window?
Centre midfield, there's still that gap there. Striker, Gal Felix. If we're looking for a like for like player in terms of in that position, I quite like Matoma, quite like Harvey Barnes at Leicester.
Yeah, I like Barnes.
Madsen, maybe. Could you get him for a bit less? Okay, he's a bit more natural centrally, but definitely do a bit out there. I think there's definitely options, Ratskelly has been mentioned. He would cost a lot, but would the club be willing to pay? I think
Would
do you put
you
more
stay in
money in the
would you stay in
basket
the
of another
Premiership?
thing?
Would you stay in the Premiership to get a player like on the wing? Let's look for a winger. If we look for a winger,
Look at Zaha.
obviously, yeah. the only reason I love Saha, and everyone knows my feelings on him. I would love him, but you just look at Arteta's project and what he's building. He just doesn't fit. He's
Yeah,
a short-term fix in it, and I just don't think I haven't since
I don't
Willian.
want
Arsenal
him in the
haven't been
short
doing
term
the
fix
short
for
term.
Willian.
Yeah, Arsenal haven't been
He's
doing the
going to
short
be on.
term.
He's going to want a premium wage as well.
Mm, mm, mm,
Does
mm.
he break our wage structure? Like, is it worth breaking for him? Like a lot of questions, but he's Premier League proven. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can put him there, you know what you're getting.
Who is
That's what it says on the tin, and he can play up front as well as across the line. So
Yeah, that's the only reason Saha attracts me is because he can play in a nine, which we seem we need a bit of cover for if Jesus is out or if Nketiah gets injured. Who was the Wolves winger we was linked to? Was it Podence? We was linked to heavily
Pedro
in the
Neto
Pedro
as well.
Neto. Yeah,
I
so
like him.
I
Injury
haven't seen
prone.
much of him this year though.
Been
Has
injured.
he been injured this year? 'Cause
Yeah.
what about
And
Pascal Gross? Any of them guys from Brighton?
Trossard,
And they used to Matomo, Trossard.
Trossard and Matoma.
Yeah, there's options there. There is options there, and I think that's also what Arsenal will hold where they are with the price. They're not gonna overpay because there is options there, and I've got no doubt them lot in their scouting network they've probably got players all over Europe where they can go and find the right player for Arsenal. But either way, it's looking exciting. There was a question earlier. We're going to wrap up on this. The Sports Capital was saying, "Do you guys still think you will win the league?" Still think. I love how these are putting them words out there. Like all Arsenal
People
fans are
twist,
running around screaming, "We're going to win the league."
people twist words. It's like there's can, yeah, can displays a capability of doing something, and will demonstrates that you're definitive in that outcome happening. I've always said can. I believe
Mm,
we can. We have the capability to be able to do it, but we know that City aren't no joke. And yeah, look, I still think we can. I think these next couple of games with City playing Chelsea tonight, then they've got Man United, then they've got us, then they've got Spurs. They're
mm,
dropping points there. If we can maintain our pace, like I think a win against Spurs and a win against United puts us in a fantastic position. So,
mm.
if we come out of this month over and only drop points against Newcastle, we're in a fantastic position. And then you consider what we do by Jesus coming back in February, March time, because I'm seeing him walking without crutches
Yeah,
now.
he put a video up, didn't he, on Twitter?
You consider all these things, if these players coming back, Smith Rowe coming back to the fore,
Mm.
like so, Zinchenko getting his fitness again. So listen, if everything works in our favour, then yeah, but obviously we've got a lot to do.
Yeah,
Lot
well
to do.
done. Is that Diablo Davis, Mr. Redman? You should change that badge. I'll just let you know. Remember what we talked about the other day, King, about the youngsters not really supporting Arsenal. Um, Diablo, he's a big United fan, and his son's just come out the other day and said he wants an Arsenal shirt. So I said I've got one. I'm delivering one to him this week. Not a problem. So, but he's saying Shakhtar Donetsk officials will attend the match between Chelsea and Man City tonight. So we have kind of spoke on this. King's wrapped up. He's saying he's not bothered about all of that. He Mudryk wants to Arsenal. So and Chelsea have done it twice already where they tried to hijack a player, offered more money, offered bigger transfer fee, whatever it is the other club wanted, and the players turned around and said, "I'm not going to Chelsea," and
Just
ended
a
up going
bust
to
off and
Barca.
Fulham.
Yeah, so
I'll
we
never get
feel
bored of telling them that this season. They're not even the first best team in West London.
yeah, they're third at
Fulham,
the moment,
Fulham's
isn't
ahead of them. What place
it?
has Mudryk got going there, bro? It's beneath
Yeah,
him.
yeah,
Yeah, and
he's
they're
doing
beneath
well. He's
us. And they always have
trust
been,
me on that
and they always will be.
one.
Bust off with Fulham, bro. Yeah, take food off our plate. They
Decent,
really are,
decent.
bro.
So, but quick question: who are you supporting tonight in the Chelsea City match?
Chelsea.
I
I'm
never
shameless,
thought
bro.
it.
You don't care, bro. Listen, I'm shameless.
I'm
When it comes
shameless
to,
with it as well. I don't
when it comes to
business.
a league title, bro, yeah, I'm shameless with it, yeah. And I found Chelsea fans that are supporting City, yeah, just because they are that shameless as well, yeah. I'm that shameless guy, bro. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll be waving a blue scarf around later. Yeah. Could you imagine it's them and
Yeah,
Tottenham, yeah, getting points off City
for us
just
to
to
help
live
Arsenal, that would be bitter. It would be
up?
beautiful. especially if both of them still don't make Champions League as well. Like it'd be even better. Do you know what I mean? So done all that for nothing just to help us out. Um, Tom at Armo is saying, I hope Chelsea buys Mudryk. I think he's going to flop in the Premier League. Ooh. We'll come back to that. And Luke Morrison saying he physically can't cheer for Chelsea. He's hoping for a draw.
Listen, I'll cheer for Chelsea
Hoping for
for
a
you,
draw is
bro.
still cheering for Chelsea, to be
Yeah,
fair.
listen, I'll cheer for them for you. I don't business, bro.
Yeah, yeah,
Bring me that
yeah.
league title, yeah. I'll wash the
100%.
thing away, bro. I'll sleep
100%.
like a baby. Yeah, knowing that I did for Chelsea to be. So yeah, I don't give a damn, bro. Tottenham's different. Yeah,
Yeah.
Tottenham's different. Chelsea, they're so far down there, and they're not Tottenham. I could probably,
Just for one
live,
evening, for one
I
night
can live
only.
with myself. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can live with
What
myself.
are we saying on this? Do you have any fears about Mudryk taking to the Premier League? We've seen it with Pepe. Pepe is undeniable. He's got quality and ability, but Premier League wasn't for him. Your views on Mudryk?
I think no. You look at like all of Arteta's signing. You could probably say Willian didn't work out.
Mm,
Lokonga, you can see a player there. Tavares, you can see a player there, but they've
mm.
needed a bit more time. And like Tavares has gone out on loan and he's doing absolute bits for Marseille. By the way,
Oh,
um,
unbelievable.
yeah, like Lokonga, obviously, I think if he had gone out for a loan as well, I think he could have done similar things. So I've looked at the talent ID of Arteta and Edu since he's come in. What has he really got wrong?
Yeah.
What's he
Willian,
got
you said
wrong?
it. Willian was the one he got wrong.
Out of all the transfers, if that's the rate of attrition in terms of ones he's getting right relative to ones he's getting wrong, why should I worry about this guy? This
Yeah.
guy has 18 goal involvements in 18 games, yeah, including scoring in big Champions League games. Last season, he put Real Madrid to the goddamn sword. Okay, he didn't get a goal or assist. If
That's
anyone
what
to watch
football's
that
all about.
game, all the Real Madrid players at the end were saying, "Who's this guy?"
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you can
And again, this
actually.
is the thing. You know me already. I'm not looking at goals and assists because I heard people talking about De Bruyne in the World Cup saying he was horrible and he's terrible and he can't do this and he can't do that. I watched one of them games. He should have had 4 assists. You can't help it if your strikers don't finish sometimes. Like, and even for a striker, if you're not getting service, you're not going to score. So you have to take out sometimes GNA because it's got to be relative to what game you're watching. And if I create 50 big chances but I only get 2 assists, that's not down on me. Like if these guys can't finish their dinner, that's not my fault. Do you know what I mean? So what I have seen from Mudryk and looked at him, he looks big. He's fast. Don't get me wrong. There's fast players, but he looks big. Like, not saying he's Haaland's build, but his
No,
physicality seems a bit like he's solid. And that's
bro.
what I think he has the advantage over Pepe. I think Pepe was very light and slight and
You
didn't
go
want
on
the
his
contact.
you go on his Instagram, bro. Yeah, you see him like all the weight training that he does, all the free weight and calisthenics works that he's doing. Like when he's like doing like put stuff on with the pull up bar and the dip
Yeah,
bars, and
yeah,
see him just like
yeah. He looks strong. He looked and
the definition and the tone of like the muscle is just there, and he's not even tense. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like no
yeah,
homo, by the way. Hitler, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying
yeah.
what I see,
Pause.
bro.
Yeah,
Yeah, you know what I mean?
get him with a pause quickly.
You know what I mean?
But
But like,
uh,
yeah, like for me, I just think the physicality that he has, like, I think he would settle quicker. Like he would
mm,
acclimatize quicker. Like his technical abilities, without question, for me, in
yeah,
terms of like like what his footwork can do, in terms of his ball control and his passing and his shooting with both feet, his
yeah,
first
he's
touch.
solid on his
All of
left
these things
foot.
are fine, but then when you look at the actual specimen that he is, like physically speaking, and his lightning quick pace. You recall it the
Pace,
fastest speed of any player
pace,
in the Champions League group stages this season. So
pace. Yeah, he's
like
wrapped.
you've got the pace, you've got the power, and I think for a wide player playing in the Premier League, these are prerequisites now.
Mm,
Do you know what I
mm,
mean? And if you look at Arteta's system, and I think where it differs from Pep Guardiola is you've got the technical security and the ideas of that coming from JDP and the 2-3-5 setup that we have and the tactical setup, but then you've got the dual monsters, the pressing engagement
mm,
and the box pressing and the physicality of a Liverpool
mm.
in their pomp. He like Arteta's kind of fused the two together. So
Yeah,
when you look at his individual attributes, he's got both, like the technical side of it and the physicality. So I don't see him struggling to fit into our system for this reason.
Yeah, no, I hear that. So I just laughing at the group chats. And I'm in agreement with you. And I think that's the difference with this Arsenal team and City team is that power. I think City losing Sane, Sterling over the last couple of years, they've
Losing
lost
Jesus,
Jesus.
Zinchenko.
Yeah, and I actually expect to see Alvarez a lot more once he comes back. I think he now becomes a starter, not just because of what he's done in the World Cup, but he then becomes a foil for your other players. Because don't get me wrong, Haaland's pacey, but he's only going to do his running in between them two goalposts, whereas
Mm.
they've lost that pace on the wing. Um, so yeah, I think that's maybe where they're coming unstuck. And someone I was talking to someone the other day, and it looks like Gundogan's going to leave at the end of the year, and Bernardo Silva still wants to go if something good comes up for him. And I can actually see him inverting Foden and Grealish back into the centre of midfield, and
What I
then
said all
going to
along.
get two quick wingers. I think that's
Yeah,
what he's going to end up doing because
that's what I've said all along as well.
technically they're beautiful players, and you can see the lack of pace they got. So
When they
um,
play wide, they play on the inside, like channel,
yeah,
like and the inside half spaces of the left hand
yeah,
side is where you'll find Grealish, not like
yeah.
drifting.
He's not. He
He,
doesn't.
he
He
will
doesn't want to go
drift
down
out
the line.
wide to the touchline, but he won't
Yeah,
start from that wide touchline area that a Mahrez or a Sterling would have,
mm,
when they were at City. So
yeah,
I think that's what Pep's going to look to try and bring back, some
yeah,
more natural width, at least on one of
yeah.
those other sides.
Mm,
Um, and I think it will be the left side. And I think he might try and use Alvarez out there, but again, Alvarez wants to play through the centre. So I think,
yeah.
yeah, look for natural width, um, and definitely Foden, if not Grealish
Yeah,
as well.
Foden's got to come in. Yeah, I think they come
Um,
into the middle.
I think they'll be brought in to play as interior eights,
Yeah.
to rotate with De Bruyne
Hmm.
in the interior eight roles.
Right. Just keep moving on. There's enough about City, our rivals now. Yeah, you didn't think we'd say that, innit? I used to always be a City fan. I'm not a City fan, but only the teams to go and do anything, it was like, I don't mind City doing it. Rather City than Chelsea, Liverpool, Tottenham, United. Now it's like, nah, they're my competition now. I love it. It feels good. Been a long time coming. But Mari, Cedric, and Runnison, they're the three Arteta flops. I don't even say Cedric was that bad. I think he was in that bad squad.
Mari,
Um,
Mari and Runarsson, those deals had already been agreed before he came in as well. So we
yeah.
had them on loan, and there was an options, like options at the end, but the club had already agreed before he come in that they were going to
I thought
exercise.
no,
They
I
were going
think
to
Mari
exercise
was
those options.
I think Murray was Arteta's because there was the big talk because he had managed him at City. He knew him from City. That's why we were linked. But I can't remember. But even if it is, I don't think they were that bad either. And for the money we paid, we didn't pay
Mm.
for Cedric. He was a
They
free.
they were there to do a
Murray was
job in the
on the loan.
short term as well,
Yeah,
Mari and
yeah,
Cedric.
yeah, 100%. Well, we got all Socrates and them lot out. So yeah,
Mm.
I'm with you on that. I would say they're the three you questioned and Willian you put in there. So they're the four. Um, so
Still a hell of a
Samuel,
lot less
it's
than
starting
they
to kick.
got right, isn't it?
Yeah, it's starting to kick off over it as well. Davis, you think this United team could beat Arsenal? Mr. Davila Davis says, Samuel, we done it. So we done it already this season. So yes. Uh, if you think United could beat Arsenal, that shows how shallow your football knowledge is. He's saying you did it at your home. So he's saying, yeah, at Old Trafford you might get the win, but this is the Emirates. He's then gone and said, I can say because Brentford beat United, that means they're better than United. These two are killing me. United are playing bottom team now next week. Let's see what you can do against City at your home ground. So yeah, it's interesting. It's quite nice because United
Just
have been in
remember,
good
United
form.
fans, boards don't hit back. You've got City and us now, yeah.
But do you know this next 2 weeks is going to be quite telling because there's some big games all around. Obviously, Chelsea got City tonight. I think Chelsea got United the next week, and then Arsenal got United. We got Tottenham. So we're playing each other, a few of us, and it'd be because United are on a good run. But then I look at what they're beating. Yes, you can only beat what's in front of you, and that's what
Good
we've
ones
done all
come to an
season.
end, my friend.
But it's going to be interesting to see how United get on in them two games. And they're still having a good season. Whether they,
A single
if they
point.
lose both those games, doesn't matter. I still think they get top
I don't
four. I
think
still
it's
think they're having a really good season.
mm,
However, it just shows you where they really are. Do you know what I mean? Not being disrespectful, but I just feel,
not on our level.
yeah, they're doing well, but yeah, they're doing what they should be doing with that team. To be fair, Bowley can't get one over Cronky in the American sports, so he's trying to get one over him in United Kingdom sports. As Cronky not into it as he is in American sports, and yeah, he might not be, but he's getting a lot right at the moment. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. But we think Mudryk is coming Arsenal. Like, yeah, we're not phased by the Chelsea links. I was a bit. I'm not gonna lie. And King settled me down yesterday when he said, "Hold on, we've seen Chelsea try this a few times," and then I remembered we tried that last year
They're
with
just a
Juventus
bust
with
off in Fulham,
Locatelli.
bro. Whenever
So
these ones start to get in your head, just repeat that sentence, yeah, and sing it in your head, man. Bust off in Fulham, bust off in Fulham, bust off in Fulham.
Fulham. Dear. So
I love
Davilo
triggering
Davis.
them by singing that to them as well on TikTok, bro. They hate it. They hate it.
Yeah, I can imagine. Davide Davis is fighting back. Can't believe this Samuel Poo Poo head talking like a You two got to just take it up in the court. You two just keep going at it. We're gonna leave it there. But King, it's been a pleasure. We said half an hour, but it's gone. It's almost an hour. Guys in the comment section, appreciate all of you. Some great comments in there. Rival fans, how does it feel to be looking up at us all season long? And you're gonna stay looking up at us. It's time we're back. It feels like we're back. I'm getting excited.
Excited.
Um,
Be
it's beautiful
excited.
to watch. So let me see what else. There's one more comment. Let's go. Chelsea will pay stupid money and Arsenal won't match it. Unfortunately, he feels he end up at Chelsea. Um, King, you got 1 minute to break it down. I don't know if Tope for Tobo heard what you said earlier.
Money
Give
is
me
not
a
everything.
minute of why he's gonna come to Arsenal and not Chelsea.
Money's not everything, bro. This guy's not twerking for Chelsea. He's twerking for us, bro. Yeah. He'll reject terms if Chelsea offer him any, knowing that he's already agreed terms with us. And that makes Shakhtar accepting a bid from Chelsea irrelevant. You know, Chelsea can bid 200 million. If the guy rejects the terms, it doesn't matter. He's not leaving for 200 million. Yeah. So look, I don't see him going in for him. Most of the reports are saying that they're only willing to offer what we will, but they won't look to exceed our offer. And they've got to use their money to correct their squad in other areas that are a much higher priority than their wing. The fact that they've gone in for Enzo and they've gone all in for him first should show you where their priorities lie in this window after they've got Badshil, they got Fofana, that striker, they bought in that Santos guy, a young midfielder. He's one for the future. They've gone for Enzo next. Why? Because they very much value and need a central midfielder, and I don't see them going overextending themselves for this deal at the detriment of getting a good central midfielder in first.
100%. Just one more thing, actually, before we do go, because this is one thing that does wind me up with Arsenal. It's the length of time it takes, man. Like, you see Liverpool wrap up Gakpo in a few days from when they were linked, or you didn't even hear the link. We were watching the game live. I think it was the Arsenal game was on, and all of a sudden you're hearing Gakpo has gone to Liverpool. You're like, what? And then by the time you finish the match, it's done deal, signed. Like he's at Liverpool, he's going for a medical. We've been after Mudryk from, I would say, summer. It started to really, really heat up October, November time. We had the whole World Cup. Like, couldn't we have got this done where he signs the deal on the first of January, and then he's ready to play maybe Newcastle or definitely
Think,
the next game. If this goes into the Tottenham game, we ain't got him yet. I will be fuming. Does
think,
it
yeah,
wind you up as much as me that we take so long?
it does and it doesn't. Like, so I think looking at Gakpo, there wasn't many other clubs that were in for him as well.
Davide Davis' team was there.
But but look, I don't like benchmarking on what our reach can be and what we can do against bigger clubs. Liverpool are a bigger club than us. Like, they're in a bad place at the moment. They're a bigger club than us, bro. You're talking about one of the world's elites. Like, you're talking like top three, four clubs in the world. We're not there. Like, so
Yeah,
we
but
shouldn't we shouldn't
I'm
be
not.
we shouldn't be comparing what we can do to what they can do. And the thing is, they were more willing to pay the asking price, and the asking price was reasonable. And
Yeah,
actually,
yeah,
why should we be paying that much more for Mudryk when he's got more goals and assists in all competitions? And the
but
Dutch league, wait, sorry, Gums,
go on.
the Dutch league is far more competitive than the Ukrainian league. So if that's all that Liverpool paid for him, that's had a knock-on effect on our deal. Because it's like we're turning around and saying, well, Gakpo's only gone for this much, so why are you trying to charge this much? Yeah,
Yeah,
like
I
so
I understand all
that
that,
that
but
Gakpo deal. Sorry, that Gakpo deal has actually, in essence, created um, a reason, a contingent for this deal to be more drawn out in itself. Do you know what I mean? Because it's
if you
created a
want it to be,
comparable in this window. This Gakpo literally has more goals and assists than any player in Europe right now,
mm,
and he's and PSV wanted 20, 30 million less for him. So of course that's going to affect our negotiations in this deal with Mudryk, who plays in the same position, but for some reason they're asking for more money when he's done
yeah.
less at the top level.
But this is just speaks for Arsenal in general. This not even just this transfer. We notoriously take long.
We
And
do
again,
because
regardless of Liverpool, bigger club, Chelsea at the moment in the mud, and they're still getting things over the line in 2 days. Like we're in for him. Again, we put a bid in. It's been rejected. We take 3 days to put another bid in. It gets rejected. It takes us another 3 days to put a bid in. It's like you're hearing yesterday, and don't get me wrong, Chelsea didn't come up with an agreement with Benfica yesterday, but you hear they locked in talks the whole evening yesterday, back and forth to try and get something sorted. And it's the speed of things does frustrate me sometimes because this negotiation could have been happening a month ago during the World Cup, where actually we thrashed it out, we've agreed on the price, it's done. First of January, he signs. Like, why? This is just me and my criticism of Arsenal. We've seen many teams. Nkuku signed for Chelsea, and he's not going till the summer. It's wrapped up. Done
again,
deal.
and Cuckoo, they've asked less questions about matching or getting closer to the asking price because
Yeah.
this is the thing. This is the thing, bro. Like, look, let me
But,
in financial terms.
we
In
go on,
financial
go on,
terms,
go on.
very quickly, Gums. Yeah, in
Yeah, yeah,
financial terms, Chelsea have written off 1.8 billion pound in debt. So if you imagine their asset value has a 1.8 billion pound mortgage against it, and
yeah.
they have to factor into financial fair play, paying a certain amount of that back every year, and all of a sudden that debt's gone, that's no longer in their FFP calculations. Yeah.
No,
So,
I understand that. I fully understand.
Chelsea's financial might, yeah, this is what, like, all the clubs you have mentioned are financially in a different situation to we are. So we can't be using these guys as competitive benchmarks for
no,
what they can do financially to what we can. We need to be more prudent with our
it,
money than Chelsea.
it,
We need to be more
it's not
prudent with
about
our money
it's
than
not about
Liverpool. We need to
what we
be
can
more
do.
prudent with our money than Man United, and that will have an effect on how we negotiate. That's just a reality.
Not
That's a
always.
reality, not a
No,
myth.
no, definitely 100%, 100% how we negotiate, but the time it takes. So as I said, Nkuku's not going till the summer. He's signed on from now. So we want Mudryk. These talks could have been ongoing in October, November, December to be ready to
They
sign in
probably
January. So
were though.
I'm not saying,
They,
yeah,
they
but
probably
we've only
were
just now
behind the
put a bid
scenes.
in. Obviously everything's done behind the scenes, but we only actively put a bid in this week. Like we didn't even put it in on the 1st of January. Like, and that's my issue. So I do agree with you. Chelsea aren't gonna have to bargain on installments and as much as we are. They're gonna say 80 million, slap it down, right? Let's go. Liverpool do have the same financial restraints as us. To be fair, I think they're in the worst position than us financially. I think we're going to spend a lot more money than
No, they're
Liverpool in
not.
the next year, and they need more of a rebuild than we do. They haven't spent like we spent the last 2 years.
But they
And
still generate about 3 times the revenue per annum we do.
what do you? I need to look into that.
They're
But
yeah, like, bro,
but
it's not close.
but
Like, do you know?
it's still
Wait, wait, sorry.
there's
Let me
still a
just
mentality of
one more
doing things,
caveat,
isn't
bro.
there?
One more caveat. Do you know Liverpool literally just overtook Man United for revenue generation in the last
Really,
financial year? Yeah, they're
that's because
like,
the Glaze. That's
bro,
because the
come on,
Glazers be
like,
sucking
but
it all, innit?
they're in a different stratosphere
Oh,
to us.
okay,
Like, it's
I didn't realize
really
they're
there's
gone
a
like that.
big difference, bro. Yes, they've
But
got
but
debt as well,
but
but they're just a
but,
financial powerhouse compared to
but
us,
again,
bro.
if you take the
Not
finances out,
close.
it's again how you want to negotiate, isn't it? And that's my issue. It's
Yeah, but that's the
again,
thing. Like, what you're doing is you're separating how negotiation would take place based on finances. But obviously, what you can do financially would affect how you would enter negotiations because
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it would affect the
But,
strength that you're going to enter those negotiations with. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, you
yeah,
can't
I hear you.
separate the two and say like,
Right,
yeah, but
okay,
you know what I mean? Like,
let me
it's not.
let,
It's
let me
not.
throw one out there. Let me throw one out there. Sinchenko was wrapped up in 2 days.
Yeah, but that
Wrapped up.
because we felt the valuation was a fair
Exactly.
reflection
Yeah,
of
wrapped up
what
in 2 days.
we were willing
So
to
my
pay
thing,
for him. Like,
yeah, but my
but
thing
not
is,
every deal is going to
so
be like that, is it? Like
but
the
my
Mudryk
thing
deal
is,
is
so
not.
Douglas Costa was the last minute we got him, bang, put money up, hasn't come off, cool, we're gone. This is what it's just again the speed. We could have if we put a bid in October, which got rejected. Second bid might have happened 2 years. And I do understand what you're saying with how we have to structure things. We've got to have these conversations, a longer talk. Right, we're going to put 10 million here, 5 million there. If we make Champions League, there's another 3 million there. If he scores 10 goals, there's another 500,000. We're going to structure us how we structure it. And I do agree, Chelsea don't have that issue with structuring deals. They're not bothered. They're what you charging me? All right, cool, it's done. I just feel Arsenal just take sometimes too long, and that's just my opinion. Like now we're in the transfer talks. Yes, it might take us 2 weeks, but my thing is, couldn't we have shifted that 2 weeks to 2 weeks before? Do you know? And that's where I'm coming from. It is if we know it's going to take us a month to get a deal over the line, that first bid should have gone in December. Do you know what I mean? And that's just my issue. And it's not even that's just my personal feeling with Arsenal. It sometimes it takes a little bit too long to get things done. Time will tell. As I said, if he's not available for the Tottenham match, it's a frustration for me because we saw against Newcastle we needed something off the bench. If you're not in desperate need, then I'm all for it, driving the prices down.
The,
Do you know what I
the
mean?
thing is,
So we saw
you've
it in the
only,
summer. We didn't really need the centre midfielder
you've only got
urgently.
2 more competitive games in January.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? Like
yeah, but
Oxford,
they're big games.
of course they're big games, but
And that's the
they're,
problem with it. I think if it
they're only
was,
they're only 2 games.
yeah, but if
And
and this is the
let
thing.
me
If it
let me
was
let me ask you this,
Forest
Gumby, yeah?
and Bournemouth,
Our squad
my
at the
mentality is
moment,
different.
our
Go on.
squad at the moment, the way Tottenham are playing, do you fear Tottenham with the current squad we have on
I
paper,
don't fear. I don't fear anybody, but
or Man
I
United?
don't.
Like
I don't
the
fear. I
thing
don't
is,
fear anybody.
if we were playing City, if we were playing Liverpool, if we had to play Newcastle again, if we had to play like teams that I didn't believe we were better than at the moment, then I'd be like, all right, we haven't got the squad on paper. Like we saw how we dominated United. Yeah, they hit us on the counter. They're not going to be able to do that at the Emirates in the same way. Yeah, and like we saw how we dominated Tottenham, at the Emirates, and we've seen how poor Tottenham have been, in their games since the restart, and even before the restart, in the World Cup break,
Yeah,
Tottenham have been poor all season. So I'm not looking at those games and thinking, yeah, we need to rush a deal for the sake of having the body in for those games and maybe paying an extra 5-10 million, just because the clubs that we're negotiating with are going to be preying on that insecurity, and that is going to give them the negotiation strength. In like Shakhtar will be like, look, we know Arsenal are trying to win a title. We know that they want a body in before Tottenham or United, so we're not going to drop our asking price. Yeah, but if say we go win those 2 games, then they'll be like, shit, Arsenal won those games without Mudryk. Do you get what I'm saying? So now they might start thinking, well, did we even really need them anyway? In any case, we're not going to go up. So then they might accept the bid. Do you get what I'm saying? Like,
for me, it's a risk. It's a risky risk to take, and I agree with you. I'm not scared of Tottenham. I'm not scared of United. However, we saw against Newcastle, we're drawing 0-0. We're not not struggling to break down. We're not. We need something extra. We
United
look on
and
the
Tottenham's
bench.
defense is not as good as Newcastle's.
Doesn't matter. It's a game of football.
Listen,
It
we're
doesn't matter. It's a game of
benchmarking.
football. Yeah,
Guns, we're
I'm not
benchmarking.
benchmarking anything. I'm
We're
saying it's
benchmarking against the best defense in the league.
doesn't matter. We could still end up 0-0
They're
against
the
Tottenham, even if
only
they've had a
team. They are the only team that has stopped us from scoring this season. I think
100%.
you're
I
giving
know.
Tottenham and United way too much credit,
All right,
bro. We're not going to
again.
struggle
Okay,
against
we
them
we
like
could
we did
score
against
two. We
Newcastle.
could score two against Tottenham, and they could get 2 jammy penalties. We've seen it. It happens all the time. Tottenham always get penalties against us. Or we may need an extra body on that bench to come off the bench and turn that game around. Again, it could be an injury. It could be Martinelli goes
Would
down.
you pay a premium for that one?
If it's worth it, I'm paying it. Sometimes for me, it's pros and cons to it. If we're gonna end up paying what we're gonna end up paying anyway, for me is put the money up. Not saying go up to 80 mil. My limit is 75. Put the 75 there and see. Test the waters. If it doesn't come off, then we look elsewhere. I'm not going to rush and buy a player because I've got Tottenham coming up. However, if he's the player we want, we're going to put a third bid in. Put the third bid in. Because as I said, just say Martinelli pulls up with a slight hamstring strain against Tottenham. Now we're looking on the bench. Do you know what I mean? It's just having that body there, isn't it? Like, and again, it's a body we want. It's not a panic buy. So when we pulled out a Douglas Luiz, I was like, fair enough, because if we really wanted him, we would have probably gone in a bit earlier. It was an El Neni injury. We actually need backup now. So we then didn't pull the trigger. Cool, I'm happy with that. But this one, we actively want him for the sake of 7 mil. Again, you make Champions League, you win the league, you win that back in revenue anyway. Do you know what I mean? In prize money, you make that money back. So it's
But then what it's shown is your hand that you can be
yeah,
bullied.
No, but what
into
I'm saying is,
like
I'm
even
saying
if it
we're
was
gonna go to that price. My thing, we're gonna go to that price anyway. So just say they want 80, we're saying 70 is our limit. We're gonna go to 70, but we're taking 2 weeks to get to 70. Whereas we could just say, all right, do you know, what, last bid, you're coming in 70 million, take it or leave it. We're not talking tomorrow, or we leave it on the table. If you want to come down, if we put 70 in, and they say no, and then 2 weeks later they come back and say, actually, we take the 70, and we don't budge, then cool, that's completely different. That's out of our hands. We put our
again,
money up, and
yeah, like like if you're negotiating, yeah, like let's say you're buying a house and you put in a bid for 100,000, and they want 150, and you bid 100, and straight away you reject it, and then you come back within 5 minutes and you say 110. That
mm,
person's thinking, "Bro," they come back
might
in
push
quite
him up
quick.
again. Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Because
No,
they like immediately like they're like negotiation, like
but
the element
so,
of brinkmanship, like
yeah, 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 yeah,
it's
yeah.
easy for us to sit here like from with hindsight and like from the
Mm,
outside and be like, why are we taking that long? But like brinkman, like negotiation is all a game of chicken, bro. Like it
yeah,
is,
yeah. He's
like
gonna,
it is,
but
like
and this is my thing where I said, if we had done that in December the 1st, we put in 60. They said no. December, we're going to settle on 70. So we agree we're not going no higher than 70. We come back a week later, 65. We come back a week later, 70. They keep saying no. Then they say right 75. We're saying we're not going 75. 70 million, there it is. We sits there. They might go away for 3 weeks thinking they're going to come back. They're going to come back. We could do a call up 70 million still on the table. Take it or leave it. No. All right, cool. Gone again. My thing is, if we know we're going up to 70, just go to 70. Like, just again, we could have done it earlier. We might still get him on the 31st of Jan because he's coming to Arsenal. He wants Arsenal. We're saying, look, we can't go above 70 to Mudryk, but 70 is on the table. It might take to the 31st, but put it in their hands. So again, Edu could turn around and say, listen, I've done all I can to push this through now. It's now a waiting game. But my thing is, it looks, if as fans, it looks like it's Edu you're holding for whatever reason, and this is just the frustration of mine, is could you be done that months ago? It might not have come through still. And I take everything you say about the Brinksmanship, I do get it. But equally, if we went to 70 and then said, all right, cool, we're not coming back in, and it sat there for 3 weeks, Shakhtar might come back and say, all right, cool, we take it. But you never know until you put it there. It is a game of chess.
that's the
We
thing. If
won't
you
get
go
bullied in the
straight to
market.
70 straight away, then they'll be like, if that's what you're
Yeah,
willing to
we're
put
gonna
down
push.
straight away,
We're gonna
then of
push.
course
But yeah,
we're
we're
gonna
gonna try and
move
hold.
we're
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
move the
But you
goalposts
know,
again, innit?
but
Like
you know what I mean. Like, we're saying my third bid. My third bid 70, like what Arsenal probably are gonna do. So we started with 60, rejected. We've gone 65, rejected. We've now gone 70, and we hold there. Again, it's we see what happens, I suppose. But I think it would be a shame if he's not available in them squads for the Tottenham and Newcastle game, because again, you never know what's going to happen. It could be a bout
yeah.
of illness. It could be anything. Do you know what I mean? It could be anything. Why Saka or Martinelli may and could end up missing the game for whatever reason. Like for me, it's we
For
need to get
me,
it done.
I think Smith Rowe returning as well, like
Mm,
like adds a body as well. Like I think what what we can look at as well is that being part of a bridge as well for those two games. Okay,
yeah,
we've got him coming back. We're going to give him some minutes against Oxford United, I've heard.
hopefully,
Uh,
yeah.
and like, I think we just have to be careful in it. Like, look, I'd want deals done as quickly as possible.
Mm.
Like I wanted this done. I've wanted Mudryk done for
You've
ages.
banging
You
on about
know,
from the summer, yeah, yeah.
I've been like, like shamelessly running a PR campaign, for him on Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, like Facebook, the lot. I've been running the
Mm,
shameless PR for what time now, but
mm,
I just understand our club's financial situation. You know what I mean? Like my late father, obviously, like with like accounting and like just like sort of working in recruitment and like working
mm,
where negotiation takes place. Like
mm.
you just kind of just see like the business world isn't it's not a fairy tale. Do you know what I mean? Like
No, no, 100%.
you've got like you can't and it is all about setting precedents. Like
Mm.
if you get this is why United
Yeah,
that
yeah, 100%.
they always get shafted
Yeah,
because
100%,
they
100%.
just put dough on the table and
They're too
I'll
reckless
press
with
you
it.
later. Like
They're too reckless with it.
City
But
don't
again,
City don't mind doing it because they don't care about paying the asking price. They paid the
mm,
asking price for Grealish, but how silly
you
does
say
that look
that,
now?
but they didn't do it for Harry Kane. That was the biggest mistake for them, weren't it? That extra 15, 20 for Kane would have been a bit. Well, you can't say that they got Haaland now in it,
They
but
did it for Grealish, and Smith Rowe's got more goal involvements. in his
Yeah, yeah,
entire career as a Premier League player. He came from our
mm,
academy. So this is what I'm saying. Like, when
yeah.
you can
No,
look back
my
on that with hindsight and be like, was that was that right? You know what I mean?
yeah,
And unfortunately, City can be like, look, you know what? We got Grealish wrong. We got
yeah.
a
But
100 million pound player wrong. We hold our hands up. Yeah, Arsenal can't do that.
well,
We can't get
we kind of have with Pepe. We
we can't get
kind of
it
have
wrong with these.
we
We
kind of
can't
have
get
with
it.
Pepe.
Well, that's what I
So
mean. But what the
yeah,
point is,
no, but no, but my thing
since
isn't.
then, Gums, we haven't done it again. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah,
we
yeah, yeah,
can't do
yeah.
it again. Like, so
But we
that's
ain't got into
and
the market
that
that big.
also adds to
But
the whole thing of once bitten,
but,
twice shy, because buying
but
Pepe
my
sets back, and we're in a situation like we don't want to be in that
yeah,
situation again. So these
but
are all
my
affect.
issue isn't the price we're paying though. It's the speed, and that's the difference. It's if we're gonna go 70, we're gonna go 70. Whatever our limit is, it is. It's just how long it. And I'm not saying we shouldn't do it in a free bid tier. Not saying that's not a problem, but could we have started it a month sooner? And again, as I said, if we done it and got to 70 and they still said no, and we said, right, we're going to leave 70 there for you. When you want to accept it, come and accept it by all means. And again, I think something similar may have happened with Tillemans because was it Tillemans? There was a point where Leicester said, I can't remember, I think it was Tillemans, where Leicester said, you know what, it's too late in the market now. We're not selling. Do you know what I mean? We were, you never know what's true or not. We was playing hardball to try and drive the price down. Leicester turned around and said, you lot have got till say Sunday. If there's no bid, it leaves us not enough time to go and bring a player in. So, do you know what I mean? It is brinksmanship in it. It's just call their bluff a bit. Let's see what they do.
Well,
Let's throw out a little transfer
yeah,
rumor out there for
but
someone else coming in.
I would,
So, but
and I think bringing up the Tielemans deal highlights why I put trust in how they're doing things. Because okay, we didn't take the bait on that. Yeah, we didn't get Tielemans. We were given an ultimatum. We didn't adhere to it,
yeah,
and have we suffered for it?
not yet. No, we got lucky. Not got lucky. He believed in the squad. We had the one injury to El Nene. We got another one to Partey, which then did test us for a few weeks. Obviously, the United game was the big one, which we lost. But however, we were never envisaged where we are now. So I'm in agreement with that with you. My thing
I
is, if
think
we're
they're
going to
making the
go up to
right
70,
choices. Like, and I
my
think
my only thing is, if we're going to go up to 70, if we had maybe done it a month ago, you never know what would have happened. But we may have that signing already wrapped up. Now he's already training with the squad. Tottenham game comes, about a flu could happen. Martinelli might be out. All of a sudden, we got his replacements right there, ready to go. Whereas, do you know what I mean? Touch wood, nothing bad happens to anybody. Touch wood, we get through them 2 games.
I
Touch
also
wood, he comes
I
in,
also I also
and
think
I
as
hope we
well,
don't
right?
overpay.
Like with renewal of contracts as well, I think that's been a bigger priority in trying to sort out.
Yeah. I,
Like, and I think it's easy to say, oh yeah, but can we do it at the same time? What you renew contracts at affects what you can spend. Like, people need to stop looking at, like, it's not Football Manager or FIFA where you get a transfer budget and then a wage bill, and then like you get an expense bill. Yeah, like an expense bill isn't like for one financial year. It will be like, this is your expense budget for the next 3 years that cover financial fair play.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know what I mean? Yeah. So like what you offer in terms of like the wage, the signing on fee, the agent fee, all of these things affects what you can spend in the
yeah,
transfer market.
yeah.
Do you know what I
Next
mean?
year,
So,
the year
so
after,
like
again, but
you don't want to
and
be
even the
buying
installments.
players. You don't want to be buying players and then be like, shit, we've left nothing in the kitty to renew the
Yeah,
contract with Saka,
yeah.
Saliba, and Martinelli, who we need to renew right now. Do you know what I mean? Like, so
The thing, I
I
look at
think
our
that's
squad
why
though. I don't think.
I think when you look at it in isolation, you think, yeah, why didn't they start a month earlier? But what we do know they did start way more than a month earlier was renewing those free
Yeah,
contracts.
I think them
So
contracts will drag on throughout. I don't think that. I think they know this is what we're doing. And again, agents are going to be agents. Agents are going to say, "Hold on, we ain't signing
I
nothing
think
yet."
what they wanted to do is
Eight,
they wanted to have those contracts wrapped up way before the January window, so
yeah,
they had more of a definitive view of what they could spend in
and,
January.
and and the
And
problem
now
is
that they
that's
haven't renewed, they don't have that, and that's why they have to like enter
the
these talks later. That's what I'm trying to
the
say to you.
problem is you don't have control over the players, agents like that because they're the ones that are going to dig in and play the waiting game. Especially what you got a year left to go at the end of this year. We
But
holding you lot to
no,
ransom, boy. So
but what I'm explaining to you, Gums, is the reality, yeah, whereby because those contracts aren't renewed,
yeah, no, I
we
hear
are
exactly what
going
you're saying.
into the transfer window blind of knowing what we can spend because we're not factoring in what we are going to need to
You're coming
spend
out,
on
yeah.
renewing their contracts. Yeah.
I
So
do hear you, but I
what
just
I'm
don't think
saying
we're near the cap.
from a business mindset, yeah, like what you would want to know coming into the
Yeah,
window
what's
is
coming? Yeah,
what you can
what
spend
expect? Yeah,
first.
yeah.
So
What
what
your
they've
plan is,
done,
and
what they've tasked themselves with, is renewing those contracts first before then buying and trying to talk to new players
Mm.
You're trying to deal with keeping your eggs at home, and
Yeah,
probably those
basket
players
first. Yeah,
turned around as well and said, "We want to see what you do in the January transfer
yeah,
market."
100%. If
As
I'm them, I'm
well.
holding. As I
So
said, if
it,
I'm
it's like
Saliba, if I'm Saka, I'm holding
it,
fire.
it's like a chicken or egg situation, bro.
Yeah,
You know
not
what I mean?
chasing.
Like
So,
it's
but
not as simple as looking
I do.
at
As I
could
said,
we start
I
that
do
a month
think.
sooner
I
because
do think there's a lot more conversations happen behind closed doors than we would ever know.
yeah,
Um, my thing is, as I said, my thing is, it just takes us
what I'm saying is
notoriously long.
all of
And
these things are absolutely linked. When we look at them in isolation, of why didn't we start a month earlier? But a month earlier, 3, 4 months earlier, we knew that we were trying to renew Saliba,
yeah,
Saka,
yeah.
and Martin in his
But
contract. Yeah,
even
but
with that, we know
if
we're
you
trying
look
to
at
renew
those
it.
two, if you look at those two instances in isolation, you're like, well, no big deal. But then when you connect it and be like, well, what we renew these contracts for absolutely affects what we can spend in the January window. So what we want to do is have visibility of what we spend in January before we start negotiating with people in October or November what we are going to spend in January. Do you know what I mean? And these guys ain't even signed on the dotted line. So when you
Yeah, yeah,
connect it together, you're like, okay, it makes sense. Do you get what I'm trying
yeah.
to say?
No,
Like,
I do
you
hear
know
you.
what
I
I
do
mean?
hear
Like,
you. But I personally, yeah, you have to forecast sometimes, and it's one of the situations. I said we can't guarantee when these three are going to sign a contract, so I have to keep my eye on that side of things. 100%. Again, not making Champions League has an impact on what I can do because that extra revenue might boost me again. Do you know what I mean? But also, we like these extended negotiations. We like these installment deals. Again, that plays a factor because what he might be looking at is Pepe's last payment of 25 mil is this summer. So actually, next year I haven't got that 25 mil to worry about, but then actually I've got now Mudryk's. So again, it's a lot, and this is why sometimes these paying installment deals can be a nightmare for you because it sometimes starts hampering your future budgets because we might have every year 100 mil in transfer fees we have to pay. If we're talking Mudryk, Ben White, I'm not sure how his deal was made up, but if I've called out 4 players we signed in the last few years, which have been installment based, we could be spending 40, 50 million a year on these installments and then still have to try and buy players. So it can get a bit messy. Do you know what I mean? It can affect your future budgets, and I agree with that. But I feel sometimes you do have to forecast. You have to presume right. We're gonna have 500,000 extra coming out if we sign on these
I
4 players
definitely,
contracts.
I
If
definitely think they would have, yeah. But yeah, I mean,
it's
like,
and again, Saliba's got every right to say, I'm gonna hold fire and see what you do. I'm gonna hold fire to see what you do in the market first. I'm gonna see where we end up because actually, if we don't meet our targets, then the power's in my hands next year because I can move on a free. So I'm gonna wait, and the next contract I get is gonna be massive because if someone ain't got to pay a transfer fee for me, I'm a 70 million pound player. Well, you say 70 million on me, I want 40 of that in my contract. Do you know what I mean? And Saka's the same. You think if Saka's leaving it on a free, Man City ain't gonna give him 350, 400,000 a week. Like it's, do you know what I mean? The players, the power's in their hands, and it as the players going into their last year of contract. So um, yeah, let's see what happens. Hopefully we get it done anyway. Um, how do you think Mudryk gets put into the squad? I think he plays on the left. He rotates with Martinelli. Um, that's just me. He might not start straight away. He's gonna have to learn the system, but he gets 20 minutes, 30 minutes here. He probably plays in the cup matches until he's kind of settled himself in, and then it's a rotation game between them. It's whoever's performing the best gets
I
the
think he
shirt.
might, I think he might rotate on for Nketiah as well in
I
some
don't.
games. And
It depends if when Jesus is back. I
no,
can't
no,
see. I
no,
think.
I think like him and Martinelli, like either wrote like say you wanted to bring off Nketiah and either put him up top or put Martinelli up top and
Oh
put
yeah,
him on the
things like
left.
that. Yeah,
You
yeah,
get
yeah,
what I mean? Instead
yeah,
of
yeah, yeah. There'll be
instead of
times in
rotating
games.
for
Yeah,
Martinelli as well, like a
yeah.
situation where him and Martinelli are on the pitch instead of him and Nketiah.
In the pitch.
Like,
Yeah, yeah.
and it will alternate between those
Mm,
switches.
free. And
Like,
Saka will need rest time as well. So again, there's no issues with one of them going on the right. I think
yeah,
what people keep looking at is we've got 11 players and that's all we can play. It's like it's a squad game. Do you know what I mean? There's gonna be games for Saka. There's gonna be games for Mudryk. Games for Martinelli.
I
There's
think
gonna be
he'll
times they're on
start
the
cup
bench.
games. He
Hit,
might
hit, yeah.
start against the lower teams as well.
The beauty
Um,
he's got is he's coming into a team that's playing well, so he hasn't got to come in and hit the ground running per se. He could easily take a month to acclimatise, get used to it 30 minutes here, 45 minutes there before he kicks on. Whereas, sometimes you want a player to make instant impact. I don't think Arsenal really need that right now because the 11 we got performing so well. And I think that's the benefit he's got. we're not looking at him straight away to come in and win us the league. Do you know what I mean? It's more come in and support and help us rather than when Aubameyang came in, it was like we need you right now to come and hit the ground running. So yeah, I think he'll move around a bit. Again, seeing what fits, he just adds a different dimension and adds much needed depth to the team in it. So right, King, we said 30 minutes, bro. We're on an hour and 24. We need to get out of here, bro. It's been a beautiful stream though. Guys in
Yeah,
the comments, I really appreciate everybody.
guys,
Um,
hit the likes. There's 35 people watching right now.
yeah,
If you're watching, it takes a second to just smash the likes. You know,
and it's
like
free.
it's free. It's a great turnout today. If I want to see 35 likes at the end of this show, that have been hit, leave your comments and your thoughts on anything that we've spoken about in the show in the comment section afterwards, and we'll get back to all the comments that you leave as well.
Yeah, yeah,
Obviously, feel free to share as well. You know, that way, you know, we can help the channel grow, and it just helps us massively. Please smash the likes before
it's
you
free.
leave. It's
It's
absolutely
free.
free.
It's free.
Helps us, and yeah, leave any comments, any questions that you've got on this transfer or any transfer story, and even me or Gums or someone else from the Armoury will get back in the
Yeah,
comment section.
100%, 100%. But right, on that note, we are going to wrap up. We're going to have a preview for the Oxford game. There'll be a reaction to that. There might be a watch along. Big up Bobby with the watch alongs as well. He's smashing it, like 1,000 views and stuff like that. He's absolutely killing it. Um, so yeah, big up Bobby. And then we get ready for the big one against Spurs, and then we're coming for United. Mr. B Diablo Davis, I'm ready for you lot this time, boy. But guys, it's been a pleasure. Gunner King, as always, it's been an absolute pleasure. So insightful, great knowledge, like great breakdowns, sees things from a different perspective than others sometimes. And yeah, man, I said you calmed me right down on Mudryk. My head yesterday was up at like, oh my god, and now I'm sitting back chilling, puffing on them Tottenham tears. So yeah, we out of here. Enough love.
Peace out.